This film is purely fictional. Please do not imitate it. Your like and subscribe are the motivation for me to update. Chapter 873. At night. In the farm of Nanchung, a big fat pig huddled in the corner and shivered. In the body of this pig, there lived a human soul, the man in black that Nanfeng had caught. Yunfei held a scalpel and stood beside the pigpen, watching it quietly. You have been ravaged for a whole day, and you are not going to speak? The big fat pig's eyes were full of resentment. It stared at Yunfei, and made a humming sound. You curse very dirty. Yunfei snorted, you are really tight-lipped. But it doesn't matter, I have plenty of time. Yunfei opened the gate on the left-hand side, and let in more than 10 fat and strong breeding pigs. I wish you a happy night. After saying this, Yunfei left the farm without looking back. Soon, the only sounds in the farm were the miserable cries of the fat pigs. There were several piles of tall pig grass next to the pig pen. Nanfeng and Xiao Luo squatted behind the pig grass, silently observing every move in the pig pen. After Yunfei left here, Nanfeng whispered, Yunfei, this guy, can really put human souls into pigs' bodies. Xiao Luo pondered. Looking at his skillful technique, it is estimated that he has done this more than once or twice. Let the dead live, and the living die, and control the life and death of the living beings in the world. If this continues, I suspect that Yunfei will have psychological problems. Maybe there are already problems. Nanfeng said softly, if you can revive the dead, will you watch the people around you die? Xiao Luo shook his head. No, I will continue to resurrect them, and let them live forever. But after resurrection, those people are not the same people as before. Nanfeng said calmly, the dead cannot be resurrected. This is the law of nature. Xiao Luo asked, if you die one day, don't you want to be resurrected? Nanfeng shook his head and said, if I die one day, don't let Yunfei resurrect me, because the resurrected person must not be me. Xiao Luo was silent for a while. He looked at Nanfeng and asked, don't you have the confidence to defeat the emperor? Whether it is the emperor or Soyana, I have the confidence to defeat them. Nanfeng stood up and looked at the night sky and said, but I know too little about him. I don't have the confidence to defeat him. Who is he? What does he look like? What abilities does he have? Nanfeng knows nothing. Facing an enemy who is unknown in everything, Nanfeng can't muster up confidence. This man in black is very stubborn. If you want to find the Lord of the Underworld, you have to think of other ways. Nanfeng looked at Xiao Luo, use the intelligence department of Nanchung and find him. There is only one continent in the primitive world, and he has nowhere to hide. Xiao Luo nodded, okay. Nanfeng said again, please pay more attention to the matter of the Lord of the Underworld. I will not care about it for now. I have to prepare for the battle in the next 2 days, so as not to lose to the Emperor, which is too embarrassing. Xiao Luo nodded slightly. The two parted ways, and Nanfeng found Xiaonan and asked her to take him into the 9-layer demon tower. Returning to the gray sky prison again, Nanfeng took out his lifelong magic weapon, Matter Annihilation Cannon. Nanfeng has not used the Matter Annihilation Cannon for 17 years, and this is still calculated based on the time of the primitive world. In Nanfeng's own timeline, he had not used this life-defining magic weapon for 527 years. The power of the Material Annihilation Cannon at this time was no longer as powerful as it used to be. The divine power that belonged to the god of creation inside it had been eaten away and absorbed by Nanfeng over the past 500 years, and it was already riddled with holes. Without the blessing of divine power, the Material Annihilation Cannon might not even be considered a life-defining magic weapon. But this is not important. In the past 500 years, the thing that Nanfeng did most was to refine the divine power in the life-defining magic weapon and convert it into his own magic power. The magic power in his body was so pure that there were almost no impurities. Although there was still a big gap compared to the divine power of the god of creation, it was strong enough. Such pure magic power could completely condense a new weapon on its own, a life-defining magic weapon, created by Nanfeng's magic power. What Nanfeng has to do now is to absorb all the divine power in the Matter Annihilation Cannon, and then inject his own magic power into it, and completely transform it into his own Destiny Divine Weapon. This process does not take too long, a few days are enough, and it is completely in time for the battle with the Emperor. In fact, Nanfeng could refine the Matter Annihilation Cannon a long time ago. But he had a doubt in his heart, and he could not find the answer. From the panel, his Destiny Divine Weapon is the arsenal, and all his weapons come from the arsenal. But from beginning to end, Nanfeng has never seen the so-called arsenal. Where is the arsenal? Is the matter annihilation cannon his destiny divine weapon? It was precisely because he could not figure out this problem that Nanfeng had been dragging his feet until now, and decided to refine the matter annihilation cannon. He had to refine it. Without the combat power of his own divine weapon, he could not be sure that he could defeat the Emperor. And his situation was different from others. For others, the divine weapon was a trap, because they were all relying on external forces, borrowing the power of the god of creation, to exert strength far beyond their own. But Nanfeng was different. There was no divine power in his divine weapon, only his own magic power. He did not rely on external forces, he relied on himself. A day passed quickly. Nanfeng found that the process of refining his own divine weapon was faster than he had imagined. The divine power in the matter annihilation cannon was completely cleared, and Nanfeng began to pour his own magic power into it as the core, using it to replace the divine power. In this way, the power of the matter annihilation cannon would definitely not be as strong as before, but Nanfeng would be more comfortable to use it, and there would be no psychological pressure. After all, this was his own power. After refining the matter annihilation cannon, Nanfeng followed suit and began to refine other equipment. Desert Eagle, Demon Dismemberer, Gatling, Spray Gun, Bazooka, Tactical Mecha, Tactical Mask, etc. In addition, Nanfeng also has grenades, black flashes, reconnaissance planes, bombers, and other equipment, but these are all consumables, which do not contain divine power, and do not need to be refined. As for why these equipment do not contain divine power, Nanfeng is not sure. His life-defining divine weapon is strange and very different from others. I am afraid that except for the one who created the arsenal, no one else can figure out the mystery, right? In the Gray Sky prison, a month passed quickly. On this day, Nanfeng finally refined all the equipment. He stretched and looked around the Gray Sky prison. In the future, maybe I will never come back. Nanfeng thought so. Xiaonan, let me out. Nanfeng called Xiaonan. After a dizzy moment, Nanfeng fell into a washing machine and was thrown out by Xiaonan. Brother, is it done? Xiaonan said with a chuckle. Nanfeng was slightly stunned. He did not answer Xiaonan because his attention was attracted by another emotionless electronic synthesized voice. Ding! Your life-defining magic weapon has been upgraded to SS level. Chapter 874. Ding! Your life-defining weapon has been upgraded to SS level. Weapon name, Legendary Arsenal, current grade, SS level, type, backpack, materials required for upgrade, unknown. The following equipment of yours has changed. Matter Annihilation Cannon, changes to Star Destroyer, this strike pierces the stars. Demon Dismemberer, changes to God Dismemberer, who is the god of creation. I will end his life with one sword. The following equipment of yours has been fused. Tactical Mecha, Tactical Mask, Tactical Belt, Tactical Bomber, Tactical Ship, Golden Gatling, SK-2 Shotgun, RPG Rocket Launcher, Demon Flamethrower, Desert Eagle, Peregrine Falcon Eyes Scouting Aircraft, Full Environment Adaptive Humanoid Self-Propelled Tactical Machine. Flesh and blood are weak, and machinery ascends. The emotionless electronic synthesized sound echoed in Nanfeng's ears. His life-defining magic weapon actually rose to SS level under such circumstances. I have. Nanfeng was stunned, and after a long time, he showed a self-deprecating smile. It seems that everything I did has never escaped his eyes. Nanfeng thought that by replacing the core of the life-defining magic weapon with his own magic power, he could jump out of his palm and get rid of his control. Now it seems that this idea is a bit ridiculous. He is the master of this universe, and nothing can escape his eyes. But, in theory, Nanfeng refined the divine power in the life-defining magic weapon, and the life-defining magic weapon should have become weaker. Why did it rise to SS level? It's really strange. Brother, what are you thinking about? Xiaonan stretched out his hand and waved it in front of Nanfeng's eyes. You've been standing here in a daze for a long time. Nothing. Nanfeng came back to his senses, shook his head, and stopped thinking about it. Some things, with his current strength, he can't figure it out, and can only leave it to time. Nanfeng believes that time will give him the answer. Xiaonan did not ask any more questions, but said, Brother, tomorrow morning, you will fight with the Emperor in the outer space. How are you preparing? Nanfeng nodded slightly. I think it's a sure thing. So confident? Xiaonan was a little surprised. Don't underestimate the enemy. The Emperor is very powerful. Especially the half-god corpse he refined. You must be careful. Nanfeng raised his eyebrows and asked, The half-god corpse? Do you know where this corpse came from? Xiaonan nodded slightly. Well, you have been in seclusion for these years, and I have recovered some memories and remembered the identity of this half-god corpse. Nefeng, what is his identity? Xiaonan, Green Star, Alco's Gu. Leda. You can think of it as Swana from Green Star. Nefeng was secretly shocked. Swana from Green Star? The Green Star man who became a god back then was him? This Al, something Ta, was defeated by the god of creation and his body was thrown into the universe? Nefeng murmured. Not even a residual soul was left. Compared with Swana, he is really miserable. When the Green Star man descended on the primitive world, I was still very weak, so I didn't know anything about the battle between Alco's Greta and him. Xiaonan explained, but this body, Al, Ta abandoned it before he became a god. So this is just a demigod body, not a god body. Nefeng asked in confusion. He gave it up before he became a god? Why? This planet-sized body is so awesome. Why did he give it up? Xiaonan asked back. Disperse the magic power in your body to every corner of the planet. Do you think it's awesome? Nefeng suddenly realized. I see, a body that is too big will disperse the magic power in the body and become a burden, so he gave it up. Yes. Xiaonan said, the bodies of Green Star people are originally larger than other humans. The current Wadika Empire has some Green Star blood. Back then, Tom made a mistake, thinking that the bigger the body, the stronger the strength. He constantly devoured various substances, enlarged his body, and became a humanoid planet. I remember that many Green Star people moved from the primitive world to his body to settle down. In a sense, Alta can be regarded as the master of a world. It was not until level 48 that Alta realized that this road was not feasible. In the end, he abandoned his huge body, concentrated all the magic power in his body into a crystal of God, killed another level 48 strong man of the same race, and ascended to the throne of God. With just a few words from Xiaonan, Nefeng could imagine the grand scene of the Green Star people at that time. Unfortunately, even a strong man like Alco's Greta was eventually defeated by the god of creation. The Green Star people lost, the Red Star people lost, and the Blue Star people, will they lose? Maybe. Nefeng did not think deeply about this problem, because even if he just thought about it, he would have a strong sense of powerlessness. It is really difficult to defeat him. Alta's body has long lost its magic power, leaving only an empty shell. Xiaonan said, but the Emperor has refined him and given him magic power again. This demigod corpse may have some of Alta's abilities. Brother, you must be careful. Nefeng nodded solemnly. I will. Nefeng looked at the golden dagger in his backpack, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. Demigod? Should it be considered a god? At night, Nefeng returned home after a long absence and had a sumptuous dinner with his parents and Xiaonan. It has been 17 years since the last time they met. His parents are not the chosen ones. Even if they practice Long Wudi's invincible breathing method, they are only level 15 now, and cannot delay aging at all. The deep wrinkles on their faces, and their white hair deeply touched Nefeng's heart. At this moment, he suddenly understood Yunfei a little. If that day really comes, will Nefeng choose to resurrect them? The next day. Dragon Calendar Year 19, September 19. A battle concerning the structure of the primitive world will kick off today. One of them is the top genius in the primitive world for more than 200,000 years. He is gifted and has amazing comprehension. He punches the chosen one, kicks the Halyuet kingdom, fights 3,000 emperors alone, and pushes the 13 states with his palms. He is the 299th Emperor Zun the Xian of the Meteoric Empire. The other is the chosen one Nefeng. Who will win this battle? Please stay tuned for today's live broadcast. In the breakfast shop in Nanchang, Nefeng drank porridge and looked at the newspaper, complaining, why does the Emperor have so many prefixes, and I have nothing? Xiaonan glanced at the newspaper in his hand. Because you are reading the Meteoric Morning News. Meteoric Morning News is published by the Meteoric Empire. Of course, it has to brag about the Emperor. Okay. Nefeng put down his bowl and chopsticks and looked up at the sky. The Emperor was already waiting for him outside the sky. I'm leaving. Leaving this sentence, Nefeng disappeared instantly. Around the breakfast shop, hundreds of Nanchang chosen raised their heads in unison and looked up at the sky silently. In their minds, they thought of the day 17 years ago. In the next-door Dragon City, Long Wudi was also like this. Once he left, he never came back. Will Nefeng be the same as Long Wudi? He must come back. Everyone present was praying silently in their hearts. Chapter 875. Outside the sky. The Emperor stood quietly in the void with his hands behind his back. There was a mother mirror beside him, which was used to broadcast the century-long war later. Click. A few thousand meters behind the Emperor, a crack appeared in the space. Nanfeng licked the porridge grains from the corner of his mouth with his tongue, and walked out of the crack slowly. You are here. The Emperor's voice reached Nanfeng's ears. He turned around slowly, and turned on the mother mirror, floating beside him. In an instant, scenes from outside the sky appeared in the giant, sub-mirrors, in the major squares, tea-houses, and restaurants in the primitive world. The people who had been waiting in front of the sub-mirror were suddenly excited. Here we go, the live broadcast has started. Is the Emperor wearing the Kirin robe? So this is what he looks like. Where is Nanfeng? Why can't I see him? That little black dot is him. This screen is too small, boss, change it to a bigger one. When will the fight start? Don't worry, according to the normal practice of fighting, they have to make harsh words first, then sign a life and death agreement, and finally start the fight. There are roughly tens of millions of sub-mirrors broadcasting the battle in the sky at the same time. Such a huge flow of traffic has exceeded the tolerance of the mother and child mirrors. Many sub-mirrors have experienced screen freezes and screen distortion, which made the audience curse. Fortunately, this situation did not last long. A mysterious force was injected into the mother and child mirror, which improved the stability of the picture transmission. It is equivalent to upgrading all sub-mirrors from 3G network to 5G network, and my mother no longer has to worry about my live broadcast being stuck. South City. Xiaonan held a sub-mirror. She felt the energy that had just flowed into the sub-mirror and whispered, Siana took action? She is also very interested in the outcome of this battle. The central square of South City. Tens of thousands of South City people gathered here, looking up at the big screen on the square. Go God, come on. Go, kill the Emperor. Don't panic, everyone, Nanfeng is invincible. In the meeting room of Dragon City. More than a dozen senior staff of Dragon City also gathered here to watch this live broadcast. Do you think Nanfeng can win? I hope he can win otherwise. Who else can check and balance the Emperor? He has been in seclusion for more than 10 years. We have no idea of his current strength. It's hard to judge. Don't think too much, just cheer him on. Haoyu Empire, Wuguang City. In the Emperor Inn, Long Yuan took the Zijing and pushed open a door. D-Fan, the live broadcast has started. Shall we watch it together? D-Fan nodded slightly. Okay. 3 days ago, after eating that dinner in the town, Long Yuan did not follow Lin Mimi back to Longcheng. Perhaps for Long Yuan, Longcheng is more like a shackle, a bondage. He doesn't want to go back to Longcheng now. The world is so big, he wants to see it. So that night, Long Yuan quietly left the town. He wants to see the world with his own eyes. Of course, his little action naturally can't escape everyone's eyes. But everyone is tacit, no one stopped him, but secretly sent some people to protect Long Yuan. For a young man, personal experience is the best teacher. It's time for them to let go, and let Long Yuan grow freely. D-Fan had guessed Long Yuan's thoughts long ago. He waited outside the town early, and chose to go with Long Yuan to see the world. They crossed mountains and ridges all the way to Wuguang City, and decided to rest here for a day to watch today's battle. In the end, Long Yuan set up the Zijing, took out a lot of fruit snacks, and said, Who do you think will win? D-Fan raised his head slightly. Emperor will win. Long Yuan paused, put away the fruit snacks and Zijing on the table, and walked out. Forget it, I won't watch it with you, lest you cry if Emperor Zun loses. D-Fan sneered and said no more. In the depths of the Imperial Palace in the Fallen Sun Empire, in a hidden side hall, the graceful palace maid took the Zijing, gently pushed open the door of the side hall, and walked in. In the room, there was an old man who was about to die, lying quietly on the bed. His heartbeat was very slow, and it would only beat weakly for more than 10 minutes. If you didn't know, you would think there was a dead person lying on the bed. This old man was the Imperial Master Tian Yuan. He used a lot of natural materials and treasures to hang on to his last breath, and he was indeed no different from a dead person. Imperial Master, Imperial Master. The maid came to the bed quietly, and stretched out her hand to shake Tian Yuan's body slightly. Tian Yuan was motionless, as if he was a dead person. Imperial Master. The maid raised the Zijing, and whispered, The Emperor and Nanfeng are fighting to the death in the sky. It is now being broadcast live. Please get up and take a look. As the maid's voice fell, Tian Yuan on the bed had a slight reaction. His heart beat slightly, then the second time, the third time. Boom, boom, boom. Tian Yuan's heartbeat gradually became stronger. He opened his eyes tiredly, revealing his old and turbid pure white pupils. "Help me." "Up," Tianyuan said weakly. "Okay." The maid stretched out her hand and easily helped Tianyuan, who was only skin and bones, up. "Emperor, look." The maid held a sub-mirror in her hand and moved it in front of Tianyuan. Tianyuan's pure white pupils emitted a faint light, and he saw the picture in the sub-mirror that the emperor and Na Feng were standing face to face, and the battle was about to break out. Okay. Tianyuan wanted to laugh heartily, but his body did not allow him to make such a difficult move. "Diyuan, did you see it? The emperor is avenging you." Tianyuan smiled and closed his eyes. His heartbeat was getting slower and slower, and weaker. The maid saw this and hurriedly said, "Emperor Master, hold on. Don't you want to see the emperor win this battle with your own eyes?" "It doesn't matter." Tianyuan's voice was so low that only he could hear it. The maid was a little panicked. If the emperor came back and found that Emperor Master Tianyuan was dead, she would probably have to be buried with him. She hurriedly took a blood god pearl and fed it to Tianyuan's mouth. This blood god pearl condensed the life essence of tens of thousands of lives. It is a great tonic that can prolong life by 10 years. But even so, Tianyuan still didn't open his eyes. He has reached the end of his life. Outside the 9 heavens, Na Feng and the emperor were face to face, and the solemn atmosphere had reached its peak. The emperor sent a message. "Do I need to give you some time to arrange my affairs?" Na Feng shook his head slightly and sent a message back. "I don't need it. What about you?" "I will not die, so I don't need to arrange my affairs." "Then don't waste your breath. Just start fighting?" "That's very good." Chapter 876. "Then, let's start the fight." Na Feng raised his hand, pointed his index finger at the emperor's face, and a laser shot out. The emperor frowned slightly. He was a little surprised that Na Feng didn't use his life-defining magic weapon. And this seemingly understated attack concealed extremely terrifying lethality, which should not be underestimated. After 17 years of seclusion, you are different from before. The emperor waved his long sleeves, and an extremely smooth mirror appeared in front of him. The laser hit the mirror, then bounced out and shot towards the distant uninhabited planet. Swish! This is not over yet. The magic power in the mirror surged, and a laser exactly the same as before shot out from the mirror and hit Na Feng directly. Bounce? Copy. When he was in Liyun City before, Na Feng had already seen the emperor's tricks, so he was not too surprised. He flashed, easily dodged the laser, and rushed towards the emperor. The resistance in space is about 0. Here, Nanfeng's speed is 1 level faster. In just a moment, he came to the emperor and punched him. Dragon Fist. A golden dragon shadow appeared behind Na Feng, and it roared angrily at the emperor. The power of this punch is scary. In the primitive world, the natives who didn't know Na Feng showed horrified expressions. Fuck, this punch seems to be very powerful. Even through the screen, I can hear the roar of tigers and dragons. I don't know if the emperor can take this punch. This Na Feng, his strength is so terrifying. In fact, this punch is just scary. The phantom of the golden dragon behind Na Feng was also created by him with his magic power to scare people. It had no power at all. Of course, as a super strong man of the same level as Na Feng, how could the emperor be scared? Flashing, you don't seem to be very interested in this battle? The emperor snorted coldly, and took Nanfeng's dragon fist with his bare hands. But the terrifying power coming from his hand still made the emperor secretly frightened. Nanfeng's punch was not as useless as he imagined, it was still powerful. Haha, it's so handsome, I'll give you some live broadcast effect. Na Feng smiled, retracted his right hand, and immediately followed up with a whip kick. The emperor flashed back and sneered, I can do the effect myself, I don't need you. As his voice fell, Dream Mirror appeared behind the emperor, growing at an extremely exaggerated speed. In just a few breaths, the diameter of Dream Mirror has reached tens of thousands of meters. Roar! The roar of the real dragon echoed in Nanfeng's ears. A huge golden dragon poked its head out of the Mirror of Dreams, and blew a golden flame at Na Feng. Nanfeng's eyes condensed, and his hands ignited the pitch-black demon flames, and he pushed them out horizontally. The black fire and the golden fire collided in the starry sky. The golden fire of the emperor copied Xian'an's sun fire, but it was just a copy after all, and it was still a step behind Nanfeng's demon flame. The pitch-black demon flames used the golden fire as fuel, and the more they burned, the bigger the fire became, and soon they had the upper hand. Seeing this, the emperor waved his long sleeves and dispersed the demon flames in the sky. Afterwards, he waved his hand gently, and a golden dragon tens of thousands of meters long flew out of the mirror of dreams and hovered behind the emperor. This golden dragon seemed to have life, vivid and lifelike. It circled twice in the starry sky with its fangs and claws bared, and then stopped at the emperor's feet. The emperor stepped on the dragon head, put his hands behind his back, and looked at Nanfeng below with a lofty and indifferent look. He was like a god from the 9 heavens. Such a domineering scene directly made the people watching the live broadcast crazy. Crap, the emperor is too handsome. The true dragon emperor, this is the true dragon emperor. Long live the emperor. Even many people from the Haoyue Empire and the Wadika Empire were deeply attracted by the emperor's handsome move. Out of the sky. Nanfeng could vaguely guess what the audience would react to before the live broadcast. This guy is really pretentious. Nanfeng said secretly, and then gave the emperor a thumbs up with a smile. Awesome, in terms of live broadcast effect, it has to be you. The emperor said nothing, stepped on the golden dragon, and rushed straight to Nanfeng. Seeing that the emperor ignored him, Nanfeng stopped talking and rushed straight to the golden dragon to collide with it. The dragon from the mirror had eyes as big as several Nanfengs. If it was a real creature of level 47, Nanfeng would definitely not dare to collide with it. Unfortunately, the emperor did not have the power to create new life. This dragon was just a product of the emperor's magic power. Even if the emperor used the ability of dream come true to make this dragon extremely close to reality, it was still illusory. As soon as it came into contact, Nanfeng smashed the golden dragon into pieces, blooming in the air like fireworks. It's better than a speed bump. Nanfeng turned around and looked into the eyes of the emperor. In the series of fights just now, they were just testing each other and did not use their full strength. Now, both sides have a preliminary judgment of each other's strength. This battle has just begun. Suppress. Emperor Zun said coldly, pointing his right index finger at Nanfeng. Behind him, in the huge mirror of dreams, a column that covered the sky and the sun slowly stretched out. Nanfeng looked closely. What kind of column is this? This is clearly a huge finger, the corpse of the demigod. The fingers of the corpse of the god seem to move slowly, but in fact, they are extremely fast. Moreover, where its fingers point to, that is, where Nanfeng is, the space is blocked, and terrible pressure is applied to Nanfeng, making it difficult for him to move. However, Nanfeng is not a vegetarian. With a thought, God Dismemberer appeared in his hand. Open the mountain. Nanfeng used the Open the Mountain from Xiao Luo's unique skill, Zhao's 8 swords. God Dismemberer cut through the void from top to bottom, cutting the fingers of the corpse in half. The pressure around Nanfeng suddenly decreased, and his figure flashed, and he came to the air above the fingers, and slashed again. Broken sea. This slash followed the first knuckle of the finger and easily cut it off. The emperor was stunned. Although this half-god corpse no longer had the divine power of the past, after the emperor refined it, its physical strength was still very reliable. Nanfeng could actually cut it in half with one slash, and from the look of Nanfeng, he seemed to be very relaxed, without much effort. The emperor's eyes slowly moved and fell on the God Dismemberer in Nanfeng's hand. Your knife is very powerful. The emperor said, after this battle, it will be mine. Nanfeng chuckled and said, is it possible that I am very powerful? Chapter 877. Is it possible that I am really powerful? Nanfeng chuckled. The emperor sneered at this. He waved his hand, and the severed finger of the demigod's corpse hit Nanfeng like a meteorite. Nanfeng kicked out fiercely, and the finger flew back at a faster speed and hit the emperor. A cold light flashed in the emperor's eyes, and he bounced the finger again. This finger was like a ball, kicked back by the two. If Alco's Greta saw this scene, he would probably be so angry that he would flip the coffin and climb out, right? Boom! Suddenly, a violent energy fluctuation came from an uninhabited planet in the distance. There are still masters? Nanfeng's expression condensed, and he immediately separated a ray of divine consciousness to explore. There was no one else on that uninhabited planet. It turned out that at the beginning of the battle, the laser that Nanfeng casually fired was bounced by the emperor, and only then did it hit the uninhabited planet, causing this strong energy fluctuation. The emperor caught Nanfeng's distraction at this moment, and appeared 100 meters behind him. Are you still distracted by the battle between us? The emperor said coldly, you are still too young after all, and the battles you have experienced are less than 1% of what I have experienced. You will lose this battle. The cold laser shot out from the mirror of dreams, and hit Nanfeng's heart directly. The laser is infinitely close to the speed of light. At such a close distance, Nanfeng has no way to avoid it. The emperor knew that this attack could not kill Nanfeng, but as long as it could injure Nanfeng, it would be enough. Once Nanfeng fell into a disadvantage, the emperor, who was experienced in battle, would never give him a chance to turn the tables. How do you know that I didn't distract myself on purpose to lure you over here? Nanfeng's voice reached the emperor's ears. Deliberately distracted? To lure me over here? So what? Could it be that you can still dodge this laser? A trace of confusion flashed through the emperor's mind. This is an attack that is infinitely close to the speed of light. Neither the emperor nor Nanfeng can dodge it. They can only predict in advance to evade it, or bear it head-on. Just to lure me close, you have to bear my powerful attack head-on. This is somewhat funny. The emperor thought so. Then, a gleam of light flashed in his eyes, and he was shocked. Because he found that Nanfeng easily dodged the attack range of the laser, and then killed him. So fast. How can it be so fast? No, that's not right. It's the laser that slowed down. It's me that slowed down. It's time. The speed of time between us is not equal. When Emperor Zun thought of this, Nanfeng had already held a God Dismemberer and slashed at his neck. Dismemberment, God Dismemberer, is worthy of its name. It can even dismember gods, let alone Emperor Zun, who is only level 47. The emperor was beheaded with a single blow. He widened his eyes, his head floating in the universe, his face full of disbelief. In the primitive world, countless natives saw this scene and took a breath. How is it possible? The emperor, he actually lost? What happened to the emperor? Why did he just stand there? Someone must have poisoned his breakfast. Is the emperor dead? The natives of the primitive world thought that this would be a battle of equal strength, the kind that would last for 3 days and 3 nights without a clear winner. As a result, the fight just started and ended so hastily? This is ridiculous. Even Emperor Zun is not his opponent. Are these invaders really that powerful? What invaders? They are the chosen ones, the ones chosen by God. You should be more respectful when speaking. Ba, the lackeys of the invaders. In the South City, Xiao Luo and Xiao Nan looked at each other, knowing that this battle has just begun. As the first genius in the primitive world in 260,000 years, how could Emperor Zun die so easily? In the starry sky, time returned to normal. Nanfeng exhaled slightly, and unfolded the time domain to control a strong man like Emperor Zun. It was very consuming for him. He had been in seclusion in the gray sky prison for more than 500 years, and he was baptized by 30 times the speed of time every moment. His body had long been accustomed to the high-speed passage of time. This time domain was also what he realized in these 500 years. But now, even if Nanfeng tried his best, he could only cover the domain around 500 meters, so he had to get close to the emperor to use this move. The explosion of the uninhabited planet just now really distracted Nanfeng. But a blessing in disguise, his distraction made the emperor approach Nanfeng on his own initiative, giving Nanfeng the opportunity to use the time domain. Nanfeng was a little surprised that he could behead the emperor with one sword. He didn't think the emperor would be so weak that he would be killed by one sword. So, is this a dream? Nanfeng shook his head slightly. He was very sure that he was not in a dream. Then, there was only one possibility. The one who was beheaded just now was just the incarnation of the emperor. As expected, in the huge mirror of dreams, in the distance, another emperor walked out slowly. You actually have the power to control time, which is beyond my expectation. The emperor said, it's a pity that only one incarnation deceived your ultimate move. How can you win this battle? Ultimate move? Who told you that this is my ultimate move? Nanfeng chuckled, your incarnation is very powerful, but it is still a little bit short. Emperor, show your true body and fight me. The emperor raised his mouth. You think my incarnation is not strong enough? Then how about this? After the voice fell, countless emperors walked out of the mirror of dreams in unison. These emperors are of the same origin, just like they were copied and pasted, and each of them has the strength of the peak of level 47. Nanfeng's scalp tingled. So many emperors at the peak of level 47? Who can beat them? No, there must be something wrong. If the emperor really had such a strong strength, he would have broken through level 48 and competed with Soya Na for the throne. Why would he need to fight with Nanfeng here? There must be something wrong with these incarnations. It's the corpse of the demigod. Nanfeng's mind flashed with inspiration and blurted out. These densely packed emperors are actually part of the corpse of the demigod, or in other words, part of the emperor. They are a whole, sharing the same power. Every incarnation here can exert the power of the peak of level 47. But at the same time, only one incarnation can use this power. That's why Nanfeng misjudged that these were all peak level 47 strongmen. Seeing that Nanfeng had guessed the truth, the emperor stopped playing tricks. Countless incarnations gathered together and instantly turned into a huge palm, grabbing Nan Feng. This palm is so big that it can cover the sky with one hand. Every pore in the palm is the size of a standard football field. The 5 fingers of the huge palm slowly closed. At this moment, Nan Feng was in the center of the palm. At this moment, Nan Feng could vaguely understand Monkey King's mood at that time. The cold voice of the emperor came. Everything is under my control. Chapter 878. 5 fingers clenched tightly. The huge divine hand held Nan Feng tightly in the palm of his hand. From a distance, this hand is smooth, flat and very delicate. But when you get closer, you will find that the surface of this big hand is full of potholes. These are the pores of the big hand. Because of the existence of these pores, even if Nan Feng is held in the palm of his hand, there is still a large space around him to stand. What a big hand! Nan Feng looked around. Surrounded by endless darkness, no light can enter this palm. In a trance, Nan Feng seemed to have returned to the eternal night sea, back to that lightless world. Is the eternal night sea formed in this way? Keep your mind steady, Nan Feng said in his heart, gathering his somewhat divergent thoughts. The emperor has the mirror of dreams. Like the god of dreams, he can also drag people into dreams. People who are confused, distracted, and have wild thoughts are most likely to fall into dreams, which is commonly known as daydreaming. In such a tense battle, Nan Feng can still wander in the sky and think of the eternal night sea. Most of the time, it is because the emperor is secretly exerting his strength. Once in a dream, it is the emperor's home court, and Nan Feng will be in danger. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, hundreds of millions of creatures lived on this palm. The emperor's cold voice came into Nan Feng's ears from all directions. This is not only a palm, but also a planet, and even a world. Nan Feng, in the world created by this deity, how can you defeat me? How can you escape from the palm of this deity's hand? From the outside, the divine hand clenched into a fist, like a small planet. Nan Feng is located in the palm of his hand, which is equivalent to the center of this planet, that is, the center of the earth. The center of the earth must have gravity. The emperor waved his hand lightly and activated the emperor's hard gravitational array, launching a fatal attack on Nan Feng. Boom! Endless pressure came, and Nan Feng's bones creaked. Under this terrifying gravity, the divine hand began to shrink, collapse, gather, and become more and more solid. It can be expected that before long, this big hand will completely condense into a real planet. By then, Nan Feng, located in the center of the palm, will probably be pressed into a meat pie. In the primitive world, the natives saw this scene and cheered. Look, the emperor turned the tables. I knew that the emperor would win. We are the masters of this world. All invaders get out. Are there any lackeys of the invaders? Come out and speak. Compared with the excited natives, the Blue Star people became nervous. Even people from countries like Sakura, Pretty, Bang Bang, etc., all hope from the bottom of their hearts that Nan Feng can win this battle. Compared with Nan Feng, these people are more afraid of Emperor Zun. Because Nan Feng will not take the initiative to provoke trouble. As long as they do not provoke Nan Feng and the dragon people, they can develop their own power steadily. But Emperor Zun is different. He does not need a reason to kill the Blue Star people. He kills them whenever he wants. In other words, Emperor Zun also has a reason, that is, those who are not of my race must have different hearts and should be killed. So even the Sakura people who have a deep hatred for Nan Feng hope that Nan Feng can defeat Emperor Zun and win this battle. But looking at the current situation, Nan Feng is in danger. Miles Solomon, can Nan Feng really do it? He won't lose so soon, will he? Cui Yongjun, alas, if you don't have the strength, why don't you just hide? You have to fight with the Emperor. Now, not only did you lose your life in vain, but we, the Chosen Ones, also lost face. Huang Yuanming, what kind of face do you have? I will tear your face off tonight, and feed it to the chickens. Archie, okay, everyone, stop arguing. The battle is not over yet. Everything is possible. I believe Nan Feng can win. Amos, may God bless Nan Feng, amen. Outside the starry sky, in the center of the god's hand, Nan Feng is under a terrifying pressure that cannot be described in words. The atomic bonds in his body were broken into pieces, and the cells began to shrink and tighten under extreme pressure, and the whole person shrank by 1/3. Not only that, the cell walls in Nan Feng's body were on the verge of collapse, and blood foam was all over his body. Nan Feng urgently unfolded the time domain to prevent his body from collapsing too quickly. It's useless. Emperor Zun said coldly, gravity exists at all times. Even if you slow down the flow of time, it will not disappear. Nan Feng said nothing. but gritted his teeth and raised his hands with difficulty. In Emperor Zun's opinion, Nanfeng wanted to surrender. Is it only this far? Emperor Zun said coldly, Nanfeng, you disappoint me. Don't be disappointed yet. Nanfeng raised his hand tremblingly and said with difficulty, you just said, this is a planet? Emperor Zun said in a cold tone, what if it is? What if it isn't? You are about to die, and you are still concerned about these trivial matters? This is not a trivial matter. In Nanfeng's right hand, a super cannon appeared, which was several times larger than his body. The pitch-black muzzle was aimed at the Emperor, who was hiding in the dark. Nanfeng grinned. My Star Destroyer cannon is aimed at the planet. Magic power surged, and energy gathered. The pitch-black muzzle burst into the most dazzling white light in the universe at this moment. Boom! This attack penetrated the stars. In the primitive world, the natives who were watching the live broadcast were still discussing with a smile how long Nanfeng could hold on. But a dazzling white light instantly blinded their eyes. Ah! Who is pretending? It's so dazzling. What's going on? Is the submirror going to explode? The Emperor can actually attack me from the other side of the screen? It's really terrifying. You. Look, the Emperor's hand is shot through. Outside the starry sky, Nanfeng shot through the hand of the corpse and broke the Emperor's gravitational array. His body made a crackling sound and instantly recovered. How powerful is my attack? Nanfeng grinned, his teeth were covered with blood, and he looked a little funny. But the Emperor didn't think it was funny, he just felt full of danger. One shot, piercing the stars. Swish! Suddenly, Nanfeng flashed behind the Emperor. In the time domain, the Emperor's speed slowed to the extreme. The Star Destroyer had aimed at the back of the Emperor's head. Nanfeng chuckled and said, let me guess, is this also an incarnation? You guessed right. The Emperor's cold voice came from a distance. This divine hand slowly spread out and turned into an extremely vast continent. On this continent, one Emperor after another emerged from the palm of the hand. 100,000, 1 million, 10 million. Your attack is indeed powerful. Emperor Zun said calmly, but if I gather thousands of incarnations to besiege you, how will you respond? Can you use a cannon to kill a mosquito? Nanfeng raised his hand and said, it's not a big deal to have more people. I have helpers too. Chapter 879. Surrounded by millions of emperors, Nanfeng calmly snapped his fingers. Click. Then, a humanoid creature with the same height and body shape as Nanfeng appeared beside him. The humanoid creature was silver white, with no facial features or hair, and its body surface was almost infinitely smooth, full of metallic texture. The Blue Star people who were watching the live broadcast exclaimed one after another, because they found that this humanoid creature was actually a high-tech humanoid robot. This is the all-environment adaptive humanoid self-propelled tactical machine that was unlocked when Nanfeng's life weapon was upgraded to SS level. Did Nanshan summon an Iron Man? Alex is right. Nanfeng really has the Mark 50 nano armor. Excuse me, who is this Alex? Although, with a flick of the Emperor's wrist, the whole world is in his hands. Nanfeng summoned an Iron Man, but it seems useless, right? You are right. This is the world of immortal cultivation. What kind of storm can a small robot cause? If this is Nanfeng's last trump card, then he is already in danger. Just in terms of quantity, they can't compare. Nanfeng only has one robot, but the Emperor has millions of incarnations. How can they fight? The people in Nanchang who were watching the battle did not speak, but their brows were slightly frowned, a little worried. Compared to others, they knew Nanfeng better, and were more aware of Nanfeng's trump card. In this battle, Nanfeng had used God Dismemberer and Star Destroyer, two weapons they had never seen before, but failed to take down the Emperor, and even failed to gain the upper hand. The robot summoned at this time is likely to be Nanfeng's last trump card. If even this last trump card cannot play an advantage, then the result of this battle. Outside the starry sky, in the palm of the demigod corpse, millions of emperors surrounded Nanfeng and the robot in the middle. Is this your helper? The Emperor looked at the silver-white robot and said, there is only this one, I am afraid it can't help you much. As he said, 100 of the emperors flashed and rushed straight to Nanfeng. Such a powerful robot, one is enough. Nanfeng ignored these emperors, who came to kill him. He increased his speed to the extreme, and turned into a stream of light, and flew towards the arm of the demigod corpse. The millions of emperors in this huge palm are all incarnations. Even if they are all killed, it is useless. It will only waste Nanfeng's magic power and time. For Nanfeng, the most important thing now is to find the Emperor's true body. Otherwise, he will be slowly worn down by these endless incarnations. As for the location of the Emperor's true body, Nanfeng had roughly guessed where it was. Hee, you want to face my true body? An incarnation of the Emperor sneered. How can you get out of this world in my palm? Millions of incarnations rushed in from all directions, blocking Nanfeng's progress. Nanfeng still ignored them, and flew forward quickly. When these incarnations approached Nanfeng within a range of 10 kilometers, the robot following closely behind Nanfeng finally took action. Its silver-white right arm flowed like liquid. In just a moment, the robot held a Desert Eagle in its right hand. Swish, swish, swish. Desert Eagle started firing in bursts, hitting heads with every shot, blowing up all the Emperor's incarnations within range. Emperor laughed and said, with such low efficiency, if you want to kill all my tens of millions of incarnations, I'm afraid you'll have to wait until the next chosen one comes? The robot also discovered that it couldn't kill all these enemies with just a Desert Eagle. Its left hand also began to flow like liquid, and a Gatling gun soon appeared in its hand. Da-da-da-da. The Gatling gun spun rapidly, firing 360,000 magic bullets per second in all directions, blowing up the Emperor's incarnations one by one. Emperor frowned, and the incarnations raised their hands to summon mirrors to block in front of them, resisting the extremely violent bullets. But at this time, the tactical robot had not yet made a full-strength attack. All the metal in its body began to flow like liquid. In the blink of an eye, 4 more arms grew out of its back. 6-armed robot. The robot held different weapons in its 6 hands, including Desert Eagle, Gatling, shotgun, flamethrower, bazooka, and various grenade. Then, the robot's upper body began to rotating 666 times per second, like a humanoid electric fan. Its 2 hands holding Gatling and flamethrower took the lead and launched a 360-degree indiscriminate large-scale attack. Voila voila! The black demon flame set the starry sky ablaze, preventing the avatars from approaching, and dense bullets shot out of the flames, piercing through the avatars one by one. These avatars themselves do not have power. They all share the magic power of the Emperor's body. Under such a large-scale attack, the Emperor could not look left or right, front or back. He could only concentrate his energy in one of the incarnations, let it condense a huge golden protective shield, and rush towards Nanfeng with the incarnation behind him. As for the incarnations in other directions, they were ignored for now. The robot found that the enemy was approaching, and the other 4 hands also began to attack. Bazooka was like a fully automatic machine gun, and the shells fired formed a line in the air and hit the golden protective shield fiercely. The Emperor groaned, decisively gave up this incarnation, and transferred his power to another incarnation. This incarnation was very close to the robot, and he threw out 999 red tassel spears from his long sleeves, trying to pierce the robot into a hedgehog. Yin Shuangying, who was watching the live broadcast, slammed the table and shouted, "He used my trick." The spear was as sharp as a meteor chasing the moon, and it instantly pierced the robot. But the robot's body surface was almost infinitely smooth, and these red tassel spears all slid across the robot's body surface, unable to hurt it at all. The Emperor frowned slightly, opened his mouth and spit out a golden fireball. Since physical attacks are useless, just burn it into molten iron with fire. The robot's 3rd hand pulled the trigger, and the muzzle of the flamethrower sprayed black flames, swallowing the golden fireball, and in turn burned the Emperor's incarnation. "Damn it," the Emperor whispered. His consciousness shifted, and he gathered his power back into a new incarnation. This time, the Emperor decided to use a different means of attack. Since it is difficult to hurt this strange guy in real life, then he will wipe it out mentally and willfully. Daydreaming, the Emperor raised his hand, and was about to drag the robot into a dream. But soon, he showed a look of astonishment. This robot was not affected by the dream at all, and continued to fire artillery fire in all directions, bombarding his incarnation. This strange creature has no spiritual will at all. It is a dead thing. How could it be? Emperor Zun murmured. While Emperor Zun was entangled with the robot, Nanfeng had already flown from the palm of the demigod corpse, all the way through the wrist, forearm, upper arm, and arrived at the shoulder of the demigod corpse. Standing on the shoulders of the giant, Nanfeng looked at himself calmly in front of him. He was now standing in front of the infinitely huge dream mirror, and this arm of the demigod corpse was stretched out from the dream mirror. "If I am not mistaken, your true body should be in the mirror." Nanfeng spoke slowly, stretched out his right hand, and gently touched the mirror. The magic power in his body began to flow into the mirror. Chapter 880. Crack. In the vacuum where sound cannot propagate, the Emperor seemed to hear an extremely subtle sound of breaking. He looked up in shock, and saw a crack thinner than a hair on his mirror of dreams. The crack was only a few centimeters long, but it still made the Emperor look a little flustered. This was the first time that the Emperor looked flustered since the battle. His life-defining divine weapon, the extremely powerful mirror of dreams, cracked when Nanfeng touched it lightly. What the hell is going on? Nanfeng is already powerful enough to destroy his life-defining divine weapon. God of creation, look at him. On this side, Nanfeng's face also showed a look of surprise. He didn't expect that the mirror of dreams was so fragile that it would break at the touch, and he hadn't even started to exert his strength. Just 3 days ago, Nanfeng destroyed the life-defining divine weapon of a man in black. At that time, he tried his best, but it still took him more than 10 minutes to barely break it. You know, it was just an A-level innate divine weapon. Dream Mirror is at least an SS-level innate divine weapon, and it may even exceed the SS level. How could it break just by touching it? Nanfeng thought about it for a while, and quickly guessed the answer. I understand. More than 100,000 years ago, Sayana's innate divine weapon was shattered by him, and this, Dream Mirror, is just a fragment of it. The core of Dream Mirror was not complete, so I touched it lightly and it cracked. Thinking of this, Nanfeng was secretly shocked. Dream Mirror is just a fragment, but it is so powerful. How terrifying would Soya Na be back then, with her complete divine weapon? What about him who could drive Soya Na to the point of despair and suicide? At this moment, Nanfeng felt that the stronger he became, the smaller he felt. Crack. Another crisp sound of breaking. The cracks on the mirror of dreams grew larger and larger, and began to spread in all directions like a spider web. In fact, these cracks of a few centimeters were almost invisible compared to the millions of meters of the huge mirror surface of the mirror of dreams. The audience watching the live broadcast didn't even know what Nanfeng was doing. They just thought he was standing in front of the dream realm in a daze. But as the owner of the mirror of dreams, Emperor Zun knew how deadly this crack was. He could already feel the energy in his body weakening. Nanfeng must be stopped. Finally, Emperor Zun stopped hiding. He showed up. Clatter. A head comparable to a small planet poked out of the mirror of dreams. Nanfeng, who had sharp eyes, instantly discovered that the Emperor's true body was standing at the center of the head's eyebrows. Huh? The Emperor controlled the corpse of the demigod and blew a breath at Nanfeng. This breath was more violent than a 100-level typhoon, and blew Nanfeng 600,000 kilometers away. Then, the neck, body, and legs of the demigod corpse emerged from the mirror of dreams, one by one. A starry sky giant that was more than 10 times larger than the original world appeared in front of Nanfeng. Gulu. Nanfeng swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Fortunately, he did not have giant phobia, otherwise he would probably faint on the spot. At this time, the mother mirror that was broadcasting live had flown to a very far place, showing the battlefield to the audience with an ultra-wide-angle vision. But in this way, the audience can't see Nanfeng at all, because compared with the corpse of the demigod, he is too small. Wu Yuansheng, it's against the sky, buddy. How can this emperor create a giant bigger than a planet? Archie, one summons Iron Man, the other summons Gundam. This is really a evenly matched duel. Huang Yuanming, evenly matched. Miles Solomon, the size difference is too big. Nanfeng is finished. Chung Yamo, don't rush to draw a conclusion. The giant of Debuta is so big, his movements must be very slow, and he can't touch Nanfeng at all. In fact, it is just as Chung Yamo said. The Emperor controlled the corpse of the demigod to put his palms together, ready to slap Nanfeng's robot to death first. But in the eyes of the robot, he was like a slow motion at 0.1 times the speed, and as soon as he raised his hands, the robot had already flown out of his attack range. Chung Yamo laughed. Ha ha ha, brothers, I'm right. Eh? In the starry sky, the demigod corpse put his palms together. When his two palms touched together, it was equivalent to two planets colliding. The huge impact force generated was enough to blow up a small planet. But this force was too scattered and spread in all directions, and it could not pose any threat to Nanfeng and the robot. This god corpse looks intimidating, but the threat he poses to me is not even comparable to those incarnations you just made, Nanfeng said. He raised the Star Destroyer and aimed at the forehead of the demigod corpse. What's the use of being big? My Star Destroyer is for the big ones. Swoosh! At this time, the silver-white robot flew in front of Nanfeng, and its body surface began to flow, and soon it turned into a strange trumpet-shaped shape. This trumpet was connected to the Star Destroyer enlarging the muzzle of the Star Destroyer. The magic power in Nanfeng's body poured into the Star Destroyer, compressed, fissioned, and aggregated, and finally enlarged by the trumpet-shaped muzzle, turning into an aurora in the universe, directly hitting the Emperor on the forehead of the demigod corpse. This blow completely emptied all the magic power in Nanfeng's body, and he instantly fell into an endless state of weakness. Nanfeng wanted to end this battle with one blow. Crazy! The Emperor was shocked. He didn't expect that Nanfeng chose to fight desperately after less than half an hour of fighting. As long as the Emperor could withstand this blow, even if he only had one breath left, he could easily kill Nanfeng, who had no magic power. Nanfeng is putting his life on this one strike. In a battle like the one just now, we may not be able to decide the winner even if we fight for 10 days, half a month, or even several months. Nanfeng said tiredly, I don't want to waste time, so let's decide the winner with this one strike. There is another sentence that Nanfeng did not say. That is, Nanfeng has absolute confidence that this strike can kill the Emperor. This strike is enough to penetrate the stars, and the Emperor can't dodge or block it. The Emperor can naturally sense Nanfeng's strong confidence. He laughed. You are confident that you can kill me with one strike, and I am also confident that I can block your strike. You want to decide the winner with one strike, then decide the winner with one strike. I am not afraid. In 2 seconds, the aurora crossed the 600,000-kilometer starry sky. The Emperor held a mirror of dreams, and took out the hundreds of his life-defining divine weapons that he had swallowed one by one, blocking them in front of him. He wanted to use these life-defying divine weapons to resist Nanfeng's desperate attack. Chapter 881. Nancheng. Xiao Luo looked at the aurora that penetrated the starry sky in the mirror and frowned. A full-strength attack? Nanfeng doesn't leave any way out for himself? What if he misses? Xiaonan said, this attack has reached the speed of light, and it has locked the Emperor. He can't dodge it. No matter how fast the Emperor is, can he be faster than light? Of course, he can tear open the space to create a wormhole, and then escape to a distant place through the wormhole. But this laser has locked him. Even if he hides to the ends of the earth and the end of the universe, the final result is only one, that is, he will be caught up by the aurora and blasted into pieces. Instead of wasting time and magic power to dodge, it is better to fight to the death and bear this attack. If you can withstand it, you will win. If you can't withstand it, you will lose. It's that simple. 600,000 kilometers. For light, it only takes 2 seconds. 2 seconds is not long, but it is enough for the Emperor to make full preparations. He first controlled the demigod corpse to cross his arms to protect himself, then took back the dream mirror, stacked hundreds of his life-definition weapons in front of him, and finally hid himself in the mirror. With so many layers of defense, the Emperor did not believe that Nanfeng's aurora could still kill him. Under the attention of the crowd, Nanfeng's aurora finally arrived. Boom! The first thing the aurora hit was the crossed arms of the demigod corpse. These huge arms were like paper, and they were instantly pierced by the aurora. The wound was smooth and flat, as if a round hole was cut out with PS. The Emperor's first layer of defense did not even consume 1% of the energy of the aurora. This was also within the Emperor's expectations. The demigod corpse without magic power is about the same as a huge stone, so it is not surprising that it cannot be blocked. What he really relied on were the hundreds of life-defining divine weapons in front of him, as well as the mirror of dreams. In the primitive world, there is a saying that life-defining divine weapons are indestructible, and are the strongest objects in the universe, without a doubt. The indestructibility is debatable, because the Emperor has seen many damaged life-defining divine weapons. But the strongest object is beyond doubt. With hundreds of the strongest life-defining divine weapons blocking him, the Emperor is not afraid of Nanfeng's aurora at all. Even if you have the power to destroy life-defining divine weapons, so what? Can you smash all these hundreds of life-defining divine weapons? The Emperor thought to himself. Soon, the aurora collided with the first life-defining divine weapon. It was a big axe, just a B-level life-defining divine weapon. The aurora instantly destroyed the divine power in it, and disintegrated it. Then, the second, third, and fourth. These innate divine weapons could not stop the advance of the aurora at all. All they could do was consume some of the energy in the aurora. Finally, the aurora hit the mirror of dreams. The Emperor, who was hiding in the mirror, felt a shock all over his body, and the terrifying energy fluctuations almost suffocated him. Crack! The mirror of dreams was instantly covered with dense cracks, and the mirror body was shaking wildly, making a buzzing sound, as if crying. What a terrible blow! What a terrifying power! The Emperor widened his eyes, and his Qilin robe fluttered, and the magic power in his body rushed into the mirror of dreams, frantically. The cracks on the mirror were repaired by the Emperor's magic power, and then shattered by the aurora of Nanfeng. In just a moment, the mirror of dreams was shattered, repaired, shattered again, and repaired again. This repeated countless times. The Emperor looked solemn, and he felt that the magic power in his body was almost exhausted. It still doesn't work, the Emperor murmured. No, I can't give up like this. My goal is level 49, to become a god in this universe. How can I lose to Nanfeng? With this thought, the Emperor was refreshed and launched the last backhand. In the primitive world, the screens of countless sub-mirrors suddenly turned black. The audience, who were concentrating on watching the live broadcast, were stunned and immediately cursed. Fuck, you turned off the computer at such a critical moment? Why is the screen black? Boss, turn it on! They haven't finished fighting yet. Could it be that the mother mirror, used for live broadcast, is broken? Shoo, stop them from making noise. There is another picture. The screen of the child mirror flickered a few times, and the picture reappeared. But the content in the picture was not the battle in Tianwai, but a dirty street. What the hell? The channel is wrong? Boss, change the channel. Huh? This street looks familiar. It seems to be Ingjiang City 20 years ago. Do you remember Ingjiang City 20 years ago? Aren't you talking nonsense? I was born there. Boss, why don't you change the channel? The audience cursed. They were eager to know the result of the battle in Tianwai. No one wanted to see Ingjiang City 20 years ago. At this moment, the picture in the mirror moved. A woman with a protruding front and a curved back, red lips, and white teeth, and cool clothes appeared in the picture. The cursing voices instantly reduced by half. Looking at the enchanting back of the woman, some viewers guessed her identity. This woman seems to be Lu Menghua? Lu Menghua? Are you talking about the famous beauty in the imperial capital? Hasn't she been dead for many years? Wait, I remember again. There was a tragedy in Ingjiang City that year. More than 500 young and strong workers died tragically overnight. According to those chosen ones, it was Lu Menghua who killed them. This beauty killed more than 500 people? I don't believe it. Don't argue, let's see what she wants to do first. A woman who had been dead for many years suddenly appeared in the sub-mirror, which aroused the curiosity of most viewers. They continued to watch patiently. In the picture, Lu Menghua was panicked and was running for her life quickly. She would look back from time to time. In the moonlight, she could vaguely see several figures chasing her. At this time, the audience saw the faces of two of them clearly. One of them was Nanfeng, who was fighting with the Emperor, and the other was Xiao Luo, who was called the Sword Saint. The screen of Zijing began to flicker again, and the picture was intermittent. But everyone could still see that the content of the picture was Nanfeng and others chasing Lu Menghua. Lu Menghua's voice also came out intermittently from Zijing Yu. Can't you give me a way out? Please don't kill me. Don't. Please, Xiao Luo, don't kill me. I won't tell anyone about what you and Nanfeng City Lord did. Please let me go. You murderers. Even if I become a ghost, I won't let you go. Nanfeng. Xiao Luo. You chosen ones, slaughtering civilians, have no conscience. People do it, and God is watching. The way of heaven will not let you beasts go. The picture ended here, and the screen of Zijing fell into darkness again. Chapter 882. Nanfeng and Emperor Zun were fighting at the most critical part, but some completely unrelated scene suddenly appeared in the Zijing, which made everyone confused. It seems that the invaders massacred civilians and put the blame on Lu Menghua. I knew that none of these invaders were good. Their kindness was just pretending. This happened 20 years ago. How could it appear in the Zijing now? In my opinion, there must be a conspiracy. Whether there is a conspiracy or not has nothing to do with me. Change the channel quickly. I want to watch the battle in the sky. The audience chatted for 10 seconds, and the Zijing screen flashed again, and the exhausted emperor appeared in the picture. He put his hands behind his back, and his eyes revealed a trace of helplessness. Look, it's the emperor. Has the battle in the sky ended? What was the result? Needless to say, the emperor appeared in the mirror, which means that the emperor won. The natives of the primitive world smiled, and were happy from the bottom of their hearts. The emperor's victory in this battle shows that they, the natives, are no worse than the chosen ones. But the emperor in the mirror had a bitter face and slowly said, "My fellow tribesmen in the primitive world, I lost this battle. I lost because I was not as skilled as others. But before I die, I still want to make some truths public. The picture you just saw was recorded by Lu Menghua using the photo recording technique before he died. It contains the crimes of the invaders Na Feng and Xiao Luo. The invaders kill civilians, and then put the blame on my compatriots. This happens every day. I know of more than 32,000 cases. Unfortunately, I am running out of energy, and cannot show you all these scenes one by one. I will use my last strength to tell you the truth, just to let you know that the invaders are not as peaceful and kind as they appear to be. That is all their disguise. Those who are not of my race must have different hearts. They invaded our world, so how can they coexist peacefully with us? Perhaps after today, the primitive world is no longer our world. Sad, lamentable. Speaking of this, the emperor sighed for a long time and said helplessly, I have burned out in this battle, and am no longer able to protect my fellow tribesmen. I only hope that the heavens can open their eyes, and allow my primitive world to produce many geniuses, so that my descendants can defeat the invaders, and so that my people can continue to reproduce and thrive in this vast territory. If this wish can be achieved, I will die without regrets. As the last sentence fell, the screen of the sub-mirror went black again, and then the scene outside the sky appeared in the mirror again. This time the perspective was very close, and everyone could clearly see that the aurora was still continuously impacting the dream mirror. The dream mirror was already covered with cracks, and the emperor in the mirror was also divided into pieces by the broken mirror surface. The emperor single-handedly resisted the aurora for a long time. The aurora dimmed a lot, but the emperor's face was also full of loneliness. There was still some confusion and unwillingness in his eyes. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that the emperor was about to collapse. Emperor, are you really going to lose? The dream mirror has been broken. I'm afraid this battle will end soon. Emperor, hold on. You can't lose. Come on, Emperor, kill this hateful invader. Long live the Emperor. Long live the Emperor. Long live the Emperor. In an instant, in every corner of the primitive world, all the natives who were watching the live broadcast shouted from the bottom of their hearts. They were cheering for the Emperor, and they sincerely hoped that the Emperor could win this battle. These voices turned into invisible and intangible power of faith, crossing endless space and merging into the Emperor's body. The Emperor, who had already exhausted his magic power, and was at the end of his rope, suddenly had a gleam in his eyes, and burst out with powerful power. I heard your voices, the Emperor said softly. He slowly raised his hand, and the power of faith of billions of lives poured into the dream mirror. The mirror of dreams, which was already broken, repaired itself quickly under this power. A broken mirror can be reunited. 600,000 kilometers away, the weak Na Feng tilted his head, and a big question mark appeared on his head. What are you doing, buddy? How come you still have hidden energy on your back? The Emperor raised his head and looked at the suspicious Na Feng coldly. His eyes seemed to say, What? Are you scared? Na Feng raised his eyebrows and replied with his eyes, Who am I afraid of? You? The Emperor raised the corner of his mouth. His expression was arrogant, and he said 3 words. Na Feng couldn't hear what he said, but from the shape of the Emperor's mouth, it can be seen that the 3 words he said were, afraid of us. This conversation is a little familiar. Na Feng stood there in a daze, and at this moment he felt like a villain, like that woman. His opponent, on the other hand, is like that man. At this moment, the Emperor is no longer an independent individual. He represents a race, and the faith of billions of creatures. As long as the natives of the primitive world continue to believe in the Emperor, he can have an inexhaustible power of faith. In this state, even Long Wudi, who is at the same level, will find it difficult to defeat the Emperor head-on. Na Feng can only think of one way to defeat him, which is to slaughter the natives of the primitive world and kill all the creatures who believe in him. If the source of the Emperor's energy is cut off, the Emperor will naturally be defeated. But Na Feng will not do this. In this short moment of days, the energy in the aurora has been completely consumed. The Emperor not only used the power of faith to block the aurora, but also used the power of faith to restore the mirror of dreams, as before. In the smooth mirror, the Emperor slowly took a step and walked out of the mirror. He felt the majestic faith surging around him, and smiled. I have been planning for 7 years, and it finally paid off today. The Emperor had returned to the primitive world 7 years ago. During these 7 years, he had been staying in the Imperial Palace. Outsiders thought that he was seriously injured in the battle with Xiao Luo, so he stayed in seclusion. But in fact, the battle between the Emperor and Xiao Luo was just a formality, and no one was injured. So what was the Emperor doing during these 7 years? He was learning the knowledge of the Chosen One, and he was accumulating the hearts of the people. He sent people to open mountains and build roads. He sent people to rescue refugees. He sent people to kill corrupt officials, and he sent people to sing praises of his great achievements. The fragment of Lu Menghua's life was not enough for him to gain so much faith power. It was just a fuse, just to make everyone think that the Chosen One was evil. Just to remind everyone of the goodness of the Emperor in the past 7 years. This is the source of faith power. This power is enough for me to break through level 48. The Emperor said in his heart. Now he only needs to compress the power in his body to the extreme and condense it into a God's crystal to break through level 48. But before that, he must kill Nafeng first and end this ridiculous battle. Chapter 883. With the power of faith, the Emperor's fighting power has completely crushed Nafeng. Although on the surface, they are both at the peak of level 47. But the magic power in Nanfeng's body has been exhausted and cannot be replenished. This is the weakest time. On the other hand, the Emperor has an endless supply of energy, and the natives of the entire primitive world are his power banks. As long as the hundreds of millions of natives are not dead, the Emperor's energy will not be exhausted. The Emperor at his peak vs the exhausted Nafeng. With such a gap, Nafeng himself can't think of how to win. In a corner of the primitive world, Sayana has been watching this battle. When she saw the Emperor repairing the Mirror of Dreams, with endless power of faith, Sayana knew that the battle was about to end. Nanfeng's move had a chance to kill the Emperor instantly, but it's a pity. Sayana said in her heart. In Sayana's opinion, Nanfeng's exhaustion of all magic power and releasing the ultimate move to fight the Emperor was a correct choice. Because in the universe, Nanfeng's magic power cannot be replenished, and there is no advantage in a protracted war. On the other hand, the Emperor has actually been gaining the power of faith from his believers. In the past 7 years, the Emperor's believers have spread all over the cities of the Falling Sun Empire, and these believers have been providing him with energy continuously. Nafeng must have discovered this, so he decided to fight the Emperor to the death. Unfortunately, Nafeng was just a little bit away from killing the Emperor. Lu Menghua's memories before his death, coupled with the sad vicissitudes and helpless speech of the Emperor, made him gain a large number of believers in an instant. The power of faith provided by these believers is enough to change the situation and let Emperor Zun turn defeat into victory. The path of becoming a god through faith is very strong and very weak. Sayana said to herself, you defeated Nafeng in this way, so how can you defeat me? Like Nafeng, Sayana thought of the way to defeat Emperor Zun in an instant, which is to kill all his believers. Without believers, Emperor Zun will become the weakest level 48 in history. If Sayana blows casually, he will have to say goodbye. The god of this era is still me. Sayana murmured. She put away the sub-mirror and sat cross-legged to adjust her state. Nanfeng's defeat is a foregone conclusion. For the battle whose outcome is already determined, Sayana has no interest in continuing to watch. When seeing Emperor Zun blocking the aurora and walking out of the dream mirror with a majestic attitude, all the chosen ones felt a tightness in their hearts. Nafeng. Is he going to lose? Cross-world chat channel? No, how can the Emperor have infinite energy? Fuck, this bastard is cheating. It's really disgusting to incite and harvest faith at this time. Can you block the Star Destroyer cannon? Hajizan, you guy. Everyone raise your hands. Let's lend our magic power to Nanshan. Spirit bomb? Interesting. Nafeng shouldn't be able to receive our magic power? Alas, Nafeng should lose. In Nancheng, Xiao Luo and Xiaonan looked at each other. Both of them looked solemn, knowing that Nafeng was powerless to save the situation. Empty blue bar hit full blue bar. How can Nafeng win? Plain attack. I have a way that may help Nafeng turn the tide of the battle. Xiao Luo said in a deep voice. Ah? What way? Xiaonan raised an eyebrow, a little surprised. The Emperor is not a fool. With such a big advantage, if Nafeng can still turn defeat into victory, how could he have come to this point today? Xiaonan put himself in Nanfeng's perspective and really couldn't think of any way to win. As an outsider, how can Xiao Luo help Nafeng turn the tide of the battle? Cut off the energy source of the Emperor. Xiao Luo spoke calmly, looking in the direction of the Falling Sun Empire. Start with the Falling Sun Empire. The two of us will join forces. It will be quick. The so-called cutting off the energy source of the Emperor is to kill all the followers of the Emperor. This is the simplest, easiest, and fastest way to defeat the Emperor. Qin Yao was unsheathed, and the sword body hummed. Xiao Luo raised his hand, and was about to slash the Falling Sun Empire in the air. With this strike of your sword, the Emperor's slander against you will be confirmed. Xiaonan said softly, the remaining natives will only hate the chosen ones more and believe in the Emperor more. Xiao Luo's hand stopped in midair. Xiaonan said again, come back and continue watching. This battle has nothing to do with us, and we don't need to take action. Brother will win although. From the current situation, I don't know how he will win. In the universe, a distance of 600,000 kilometers only takes 2 seconds for Aurora, but for the Emperor, it takes 20 seconds, or even longer. He used the endless power of faith to repair the corpse of the demigod, and then controlled this huge body to fly towards Nanfeng. Nanfeng smiled bitterly. The aurora emitted by consuming all the magic power is powerful, but the price is also huge. In a weak state, Nanfeng could only watch the Emperor approaching, and had no strength to escape. Am I going to die here? A trace of doubt flashed through Nanfeng's mind. During the 527 years of seclusion, in addition to refining his lifelong divine weapon, Nanfeng has been thinking about the past and the future. According to my thinking, becoming a god is my inevitable result, otherwise I can't explain my past. Nanfeng murmured in his heart, I won't die here, but I have reached the end of my rope. How can I survive and kill the Emperor? Nanfeng felt that in his current state, it was impossible to survive, let alone kill the Emperor. So where is the variable? Nanfeng's eyes looked at the silver-white metal at the muzzle of the Star Destroyer cannon. Die. The cold voice of the Emperor sounded in Nanfeng's ears. During the time when Nanfeng was thinking, the Emperor had crossed the long starry sky and came to Nanfeng. The corpse of the demigod waved his huge hands and slapped Nanfeng fiercely. As if sensing that Nanfeng's life was being threatened, the silver-white metal flowed like liquid, quickly covering Nanfeng's entire body, like a nano-armor. The next moment, Nanfeng, who had transformed into a little silver man, blasted back 100,000 kilometers. What a fast speed! The Emperor's eyes condensed. He didn't understand why Nanfeng, who had already reached the end of his rope, could still burst out at such a terrifying speed. It turns out that this robot can merge with me. Nanfeng lowered his head, looked at the silver-white metal covering his entire body, and suddenly realized. So this is the variable. His mind moved, and he flashed in front of the Emperor in an instant, punching out. Boom! Several huge cracks appeared on the head of the demigod corpse, and the Emperor standing at the center of the god corpse's eyebrows was also seriously injured by this punch. But the Emperor has an endless power of faith, and this level of injury can't kill him. The Emperor's injuries healed rapidly, and he snorted, Can you still resist? I underestimated you. As he said, the Emperor urged the power of faith and hit Nanfeng hard. Nanfeng dodged. Seeing this, the Emperor urged more power of faith and continued to attack. Nanfeng dodged in a panic. Facing the Emperor with almost unlimited energy, Nanfeng could only dodge continuously. You can only dodge? My energy is endless. I want to see how long you can dodge, the Emperor said. Nanfeng was also thinking about this question. This robot seemed to be an independent individual, and its energy source was not the magic power in Nanfeng's body. Where did its energy come from? How long could it last? Nanfeng didn't know. He only knew that the robot was very fast, so fast that Emperor Zun couldn't hit it at all. If I could hit Emperor Zun's head at the speed of light. Even if he has endless energy, I'm afraid he won't have time to recover, and he will be killed by me? Thinking of this, Nanfeng raised the corner of his mouth and said, Speed up. The robot received the command, and its speed increased sharply. Not enough, keep speeding up. The silver-white robot began to circle around the corpse of the demigod, and the speed was getting faster and faster, so fast that even the afterimage disappeared, as if it didn't exist. The speed of light is the fastest speed in the universe. What happens when an object reaches the speed of light? At this moment, Nanfeng's mind was clear. He touched time. Chapter 884. Einstein once said, any object with mass will increase in mass as its speed increases. When the object approaches the speed of light infinitely, its mass will approach infinity, and its gravity will also approach infinity. When Nanfeng accelerated to the speed of light, he had already turned into a humanoid black hole. The space around him began to collapse, and all matter began to move towards him. The corpse of the demigod, as huge as a planet, twisted, collapsed in an instant, and was sucked into the black hole. Emperor Zun was no exception. He didn't even know what happened, because the time here was also absorbed by the infinite gravity. Soon, a black hole the size of a watermelon quietly floated in the universe. It was so black that even light could not escape from it. But what was strange was that the black hole did not continue to expand outward, nor did it collapse and break, but inexplicably reached a state of equilibrium. In the black hole, Emperor Zun had been compressed to the thinness of a hair. He didn't die, but he couldn't do anything. Because time here is still, Emperor Zun can't move. Even his consciousness is still before the black hole is formed. Can't die, but can't live either. In this black hole, only Nanfeng is still moving at the speed of light. Nanfeng can't stop. It's not that Nanfeng doesn't want to stop, but the robot doesn't stop. The scene in front of Nanfeng has become nothingness, and all the matter in the black hole is a point in his eyes. He is still moving at the speed of light. Time has lost its meaning to him. After an unknown period of time, these points in Nanfeng's eyes have become lines. Countless threads intertwined together, and finally formed a long colorful cloth under Nanfeng's feet. Nanfeng looked far away, and there was no end in sight in front of the long cloth. He turned his head and looked behind him, and there was no end in sight behind him. The colorful long cloth was endless. It was like a time river. The robot stopped on the long cloth and made the same sound as Nanfeng. Crash. The silver-white metal separated from Nanfeng like flowing water, and then reunited in front of Nanfeng. Nanfeng looked at the robot calmly and asked, "Who are you?" The robot also answered calmly, "What do you think?" "You are the future me." Nanfeng's tone was very sure. But soon, Nanfeng asked again in confusion, "Why did the future me become a robot?" "When you arrive in the future, you will naturally know." The robot answered calmly. "Well?" Nanfeng did not continue to ask about this issue, but asked a more important question. "It seems that my guess is correct. Becoming a god is my inevitable result. So, in the future, have we defeated the god of creation?" "No," the robot replied. Nanfeng was shocked. We lost?" The robot said, "We didn't lose, nor did we win, we are fighting." "We are fighting?" This result was completely beyond Nanfeng's expectations, so he was stunned for a long time before he asked in a daze, "Then why did you run here?" The robot said, "I felt that I couldn't win, so I ran first." Nanfeng, just kidding. The robot's face moved slightly, and turned into a smiling face. If the previous future Nanfeng was an emotionless robot, then the current future Nanfeng is a robot with a hint of humanity. His tone was less cold and more humorous. The robot continued, "I have two things to do when I step into the long river of time this time. First, go back to the past, save myself who was once in danger, and make sure I become a god. Second, go to the future and ask for help from my future self." Nanfeng blinked and looked at the robot. "So, my future self, you are going to the more distant future, find my future self, and ask him to help defeat the god of creation?" The robot nodded. "That's right." Nanfeng thought for a moment, and suddenly became energetic. "Oh my god, am I invincible? When I encounter an enemy I can't beat, I go to the future to find my future self to help. If this is not invincible, what is it?" But soon, Nanfeng found a blind spot. Since the future Nanfeng in front of him needs the help of super future Nanfeng, it means that future Nanfeng is not the opponent of the god of creation. Then, if future Nanfeng dies at the hands of the god of creation, then super future Nanfeng will not exist? Nanfeng thought for a while and asked, "Is the god of creation very strong?" The robot was silent for a moment and said, "Very strong, but not invincible." After a pause, the robot said, "In fact, your guess is not wrong. Becoming a god is our inevitable result. We will become gods." Hearing this, Nanfeng instantly breathed a sigh of relief and his confidence increased greatly. "Sure enough, in the future, I will definitely defeat the god of creation and become a new god. I, Nanfeng, am really awesome," the robot said. "Now, I am going to step into the long river of time, go to the more distant past, and save my weaker self." "My past self, do you want to travel through time with me?" Nanfeng did not hesitate and nodded immediately. "Of course. By the way, what about Emperor Zun? Is he dead?" The robot said, "Of course not. After this time travel is over, you can deal with him yourself." As he said that, the robot turned into liquid again and merged with Nanfeng. They went upstream, running fast in the long river of time, and countless colorful lines passed by their eyes. After an unknown amount of time, the robot stopped. They came to a collapsed bell tower. Not far from the bell tower, there was a bonfire, and a big yellow cattle was roasted on the bonfire. There were 3 people beside the bonfire, namely, Nanfeng, Emperor Zun, and Tang Chungyun. "Is this outside Bukong City?" Nanfeng raised his eyebrows. Although more than 500 years have passed, Nanfeng still remembers this time point. If I remember correctly, the Emperor at this time was planning to kill Nanfeng. Sure enough, next to the campfire, the Emperor raised his hand and released a large amount of dark green poisonous gas, instantly poisoning Tang Chungyun. Past Nanfeng is not afraid of poison because he has a tactical mecha and a tactical mask to protect his body. But at this point in time, Nanfeng's strength is very different from that of the Emperor. The Emperor only needs to slap him with a palm, and past Nanfeng, will die suddenly. But at this critical moment, the Emperor glanced in the direction of the robot, and then withdrew his hand fearfully. Sure enough, there are still strong people protecting you. Past Emperor snorted coldly, you are lucky, Nanfeng. I still need to save my fighting power to fight the Dream God. I will ask the strong men behind you for advice after I come back. After saying that, past Emperor flew towards the Wadika Empire. Seeing this scene, Nanfeng murmured, damn, it turns out that at that time, the Emperor was not afraid of Xiaonan, but you? You saved me at that time? The robot said calmly, I saved me. After saying that, the robot moved at the speed of light again, going up against the long river of time. Chapter 885. The clock goes back. Those battles that had been experienced reappeared in front of Nanfeng. The ancestors of the Zhao family, Tian Yuan, Di Yuan, the Black King, the Crow King, the 5 monsters of Yingjiang. Many of these battles had forced Nanfeng into desperate situations, and nearly killed him. Nanfeng was a little dazed. Is it because you helped me in secret that I was able to defeat them? The robot shook his head and said, then you looked down on us in the past too much. These battles were won by past Nanfeng with strength and luck, and we didn't need to help. The robot emphasized the word luck. Luck. Nanfeng smiled slightly. Luck, isn't it also a kind of strength? The robot did not stay at these time nodes for long. He took Nanfeng to continue to go back from the real to the virtual, and came to the 9th primitive world, 527 war zone. Nanfeng looked around and saw, past Nanfeng, not far away at a glance. At this time, past Nanfeng was fighting a fallen demon. He fired a penetrating bullet, which accurately pierced the forehead of the fallen demon and killed it. Such a quick death? Ahem. Past Nanfeng was surrounded by the light of a crystal shield. He coughed up blood and retreated dozens of meters. After confirming that the fallen demon was really dead, he went to pick up the equipment. Fallen demon exploded 3 red treasure chests. Past Nanfeng picked up the 3 treasure chests and opened them at the same time. Click. The robot thought and paused time. He brought Nanfeng to past Nanfeng and looked at the equipment in the 3 red treasure chests. The 3 pieces of equipment are Devil's Wings, Snow King's Staff, Hefei's Robe. The robot stared at the 3 pieces of equipment in a trance, wondering what it was thinking. What? Equipment in the virtual world can also catch your eye? Nanfeng asked in confusion. The robot did not speak. He took out an irregular stone and began to rub it with both hands. Under the robot's ravages, the stone was soon squeezed into the shape of a amulet. Seeing this, Nanfeng blurted out, lucky amulet? The robot nodded and put the amulet into the treasure chest in the middle. As for the original Snow King's staff in the treasure chest, it was flicked by the robot and flew to the end of the world like a toothpick. Click. Time began to flow. Past Nanfeng smiled and counted the gains of this battle. He ignored the silver-white robot in front of him. He could not see the Nanfeng from the future. Did you give me the lucky amulet? I told you. The passive effect of this equipment is simply amazing. It doesn't look like a B-level equipment at all. Nanfeng's face suddenly turned dark as he spoke. Damn. He now understood why the robot put the emphasis on the word luck just now. Is such luck considered a kind of strength? The robot took Nanfeng and stepped into the river of time again upstream. Let's go to the next time node. The robot said. Where is the next time node? Nanfeng began to recall everything he experienced in world number 9. At which time node did he almost die? Was it during the small beast tide? He was almost killed instantly by the final boss, Dead Wizard, at that time. Or was it during the battle with the Green Star Man? The Green Star Man was like a zombie, very fierce. It could also be the battle with Sikong Bushue. Now thinking back, Sikong Bushue's hypnotic ability is still very powerful. But what Nanfeng didn't expect was that the robot took him directly back to the first day of the crossing. This is a forest, and a shabby cabin stands among the trees. Next to the cabin, past Nanfeng has his hands behind his back, holding the Desert Eagle tightly in his hands. Opposite, past Nanfeng, there is a big bald man. Nanfeng remembers the name of this big bald man. His name is Huang Peng, and he was a murderer before crossing. At this time, the big bald man raised the wooden axe high and laughed. This world without laws is really my paradise. After that, he strode towards, past Nanfeng, past Nanfeng, did not hesitate, raised his hand and shot at the big bald man. Click. Time paused at this moment. The robot took 2 steps forward, came to the magic bullet suspended in the air, stretched out its finger, and gently fiddled with it. Click. Time began to pass. The magic bullet accurately hit the bald man's head, knocking off 91 of his health points. The bald man covered his face and screamed. Nanfeng suddenly realized, I just remembered that I was aiming at the legs at that time. How could I hit the head? It turned out that you adjusted my trajectory. The robot said, if this shot hit the legs, we would be the ones to die. The first day of the journey, this was when Nanfeng was the weakest. At this time point, a Iron Claw Rat can chase Nanfeng and bite him randomly. At the same time point, Long Woody from World Number 1 has already killed a level 5, bloodthirsty wolf, with 3 punches. Let's go, there is one last time point. The robot took Nanfeng into the long river of time again. Nanfeng has already guessed where this last time point is. My life-defining magic weapon was also given to me by you, right? Nanfeng said. I gave it to me. The robot said, we are both Nanfeng, the same person at different time points, and there should be no distinction between you and me. Then I always need a name to distinguish between the two of us, right? Otherwise, how can others tell the difference? Nanfeng spread his hands. I said I want to pee. Is it me who wants to pee, or me who wants to pee? The robot smiled dumbly. I said the same thing you said back then. The robot sighed in his heart. History is always amazing. Exactly the same. In the cabin, past Nanfeng is choosing his life-defining magic weapon. When he turned over the last card, the robot threw a ball of light into it, occupying the position of the original life weapon. Fuck, another F level? Wait a minute, what is this? Past Nanfeng stared at the armory, confused. That look made Nanfeng laugh. It turned out that he was so stupid back then. It's over, the robot said softly. He didn't stay for long, and took Nanfeng back to the long river of time. Nanfeng looked at the endless line behind him and asked, if we continue to go back, can we return to Blue Star? No. The robot said, if we continue to go back, we will collapse, perish, and be erased by time. Nanfeng nodded with some regret. It's a pity, otherwise we can go back to the time before the creator god became a god and slap him to death with a slap, and there won't be so many trivial things.